Hey everyone, how's it going? So, whether you watch The Bachelorette or not, one way or another, either by watching this most previous season or by hearing about it constantly all over, the internet and social media and all of that, the season finale of The Bachelorette aired recently and it was announced who Becca chose to be engaged to, and I'm not going to spoil all that for you because I'm not into that, but that got me thinking about the show itself and like the Bachelor franchise as a whole, and I really started to break it down and analyze it, and I found some things about the franchise and the show and whatever that is very telling and actually quite fascinating. I figured this topic would be highly relevant considering the season just ended. So without further ado, these are the 3 reasons why the Bachelor franchise will never die. First of all, the shows are timeless. And what I mean by that is this show could easily take place in, I don't want to say any time period, but it's a lot of the stuff that gets covered and a lot of the people and the things and everything in the universe that you see in the show could easily be placed in one time period or another. Like, take for instance, in case some of you don't know, in the very first episode of the season, they do kind of like an introduction for a select few of the contestants. And they usually say their name, their age, their hometown, and their occupation. Now, the thing that's interesting about when they list their occupation is they'll say, oh, I'm a doctor, or I'm an entertainer, I work in real estate, I'm a teacher, stuff like that. So you're never gonna hear them say, oh, I work at McDonald's. Well, technically you wouldn't have any contestant working at McDonald's because, it's a whole different story in and of itself, but they always manage to choose people that are young 20-somethings that are somehow super successful. I don't get it. But anyways, sorry, you're never gonna hear them say, I work at McDonald's. They would say, I am an employee at a fast food restaurant. And now, of course, if you go back to the 1800s, for example, there weren't exactly fast food chains around at that point in time, but you get the idea. There's a certain level of relatability. It makes the show more universal and more easy to relate to when they say just their type of occupation rather than naming a certain company that could potentially become obsolete in a number of years. Also, it took me years to figure this out, but there is a distinct lack of pop culture references and mentioning of certain current hot topics. And this realization dawned on me, I think, during Ari's season, and Becca, not the most recent Bachelorette Becca, but the 22-year-old Becca, made a reference to Trump. I don't remember exactly what she said, but she mentioned Donald Trump, and I was like, it's so weird. And obviously it's very relevant today's day and age because he is our president, whether you like it or not. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so relevant what she's saying. That name is so relevant in news recently, so why do I find it bizarre that she's mentioning him on the show? It all ties back to the timeless aspect of the Bachelor franchise. And I've heard, according to certain contestants that have been on the show in the past, that apparently they're not allowed to go on social media, they don't have access to their cell phones, they can't watch TV, they're basically, they can't use internet either, so they're basically cut off from the rest of the world. They're contained within this isolated little bubble while they're filming the show. And it would only make sense that since they're cut off from the rest of the world, the outside world, if you will, it doesn't make sense for them to make references to the outside world. So when they do, it's really bizarre. Okay, and number 2, the lead person, aka the Bachelor on The Bachelor or the Bachelorette on The Bachelorette, those people simultaneously resemble everyone and no one at the same time. Without fail, these people are depicted as kind, down to earth, angelic, very attractive. They can do no wrong. Basically, your perfect, ideal human being. It's nothing but a trope. They have a distinct lack of personality. And I just want to clarify one thing. Whenever contestants and lead people on these shows do interviews with like news outlets or whatever, and they talk about how they fell in love with so-and-so's personality and they've never met someone quite like that person before. I'm not saying that that's BS and that I don't believe them. I do. Who am I to judge if they're telling the truth or not? I wasn't there during the show when they were filming it. I wasn't a witness to everything that happened. So I really do believe them and take it to heart when they say that they've met someone incredible that they could never imagine living without. I'm just saying that the editors and producers are the ones who are cutting and pasting all of those video sequences to make it seem like the lead roles are very much deadpan and very trope-like. And last of all, my third thing actually consists of two different parts of it: sex and violence. Okay, it doesn't take a very smart person to see that the most addicting TV shows and movies comprise of both of those things put together. No TV series is more cookie cutter, textbook based, 1, 2, 3, exactly formulaic when it comes to sex and violence as the Bachelor franchise. This is why so many people say that, The Bachelor is my guilty pleasure, or, I love to hate it. And me, it's definitely my guilty pleasure, and I love to hate it. Because it's true, this isn't an opinion, this is like an actual fact that it's really hard for the vast majority of humanity to not be drawn in by the lure of something of a sexual nature and violence. It's very bizarre, especially how we somehow manage to be really drawn to the violence aspect of that. And the thing is, The Bachelor doesn't even fully come through with both of those things, because obviously they can't show sex because that would be highly inappropriate and not allowed on public television, obviously. And like they show like making out and stuff, but when it gets to the fantasy suite portion of the Bachelor or the Bachelorette show, they often allude to them having sex, but they never show them actually doing anything. Like they'll show like a shot of like the guy or girl like closing the door, or you can like see like shadows through the curtains or anything like that, but there's no like actual sex that's like explicitly stated or shown. And then the violence thing, okay, this just pisses me off, quite honestly. In the season trailers, there's always, without a doubt, whether it's The Bachelor or The Bachelorette airing, they always show a clip where they make it seem like somebody beat the ever-loving crap out of somebody else. Like somebody's face will be covered in blood, they'll be like out on a stretcher, there's ambulance sirens blaring in the background, and you know what it ends up always being? He just fell out of his bed, or he slipped and fell on the side of the pool. Because there's animosities, and these guys and girls, they're like all talking, no action, because they never ever hardly even lay hands on each other. It's always like some sort of like freak accident, and then the producers just make it seem like something violent happened when actually it didn't. So it's crazy how this franchise uses both those aspects of sex and violence when really there's no sex and there's no violence. But anyways, basically, I don't know if I have any closing remarks. I feel like if anybody were to spend any small amount of time just really thinking about what they're watching in those shows, it would very quickly reveal to themselves why the Bachelor franchise has endured for 20-something seasons and will probably continue onward for many more. Okay, so that's the end of this video. If you like what you see, please click that like button, subscribe, and most importantly, I know you guys must be sick and tired of me talking about this, but if you like what you see, please share this video so that as many people as possible can watch it. Alright, that's all for now, and I will see you in the next one.